The story opens in modern-day Russia, where we meet a young woman named Dominika. She's a talented ballerina, graceful and determined, but life has dealt her a cruel hand. Dominika must scrape together every penny she can because her mother is chronically ill, her treatments draining their meager savings like a relentless storm. Money is always tight, a constant shadow over their lives. One fateful night, during a high-stakes performance on stage, disaster strikes. As Dominika dances with flawless precision, her partner missteps horribly. He crushes his foot down onto hers with brutal force. The bone in her foot snaps like dry kindling, the pain exploding through her body as the audience gasps in horror. In that shattering moment, her dreams of a glittering dance career vanish forever. Devastated and lost, Dominika spirals into despair. How will she provide for her mother now? The stage, her only world, has been ripped away, leaving her adrift in uncertainty and grief. Months drag by in a haze of recovery. Her foot heals, but the scars run deeper. Then, one ordinary afternoon, her uncle Ivan arrives unannounced. Ivan isn't just family, he's a high-ranking director in Russia's secretive intelligence agency, a man cloaked in shadows and state secrets. He approaches Dominika with a proposition that chills her to the core. He needs her help on a covert operation. Join him, he urges, and work for the agency. But Dominika, still raw from her losses, refuses outright, her voice steady despite the fear flickering in her eyes. Ivan doesn't back down. Leaning in closer, he drops a bombshell that shatters her world all over again. That accident on stage? It wasn't an accident at all. Someone deliberately broke her foot, her closest friend, out of sheer envy and ambition. The betrayal cuts like a knife. That friend wanted Dominika's spotlight, her place in the troupe, and she schemed to steal it by sabotaging her rival's body. Rage boils up inside Dominika, hot and unyielding. Blinded by fury, she storms to her former friend's home and unleashes a torrent of violence, her fists a whirlwind of pent-up anguish and betrayal. When the storm subsides, Dominika returns to Ivan, her resolve cracking. "What do I do now?" she whispers, her voice trembling. Ivan lays out the mission with cold precision. There's a powerful gangster terrorizing the underworld, a man whose elimination could shift the balance of power. Seduce him, lure him to a hotel room, and the agency's agents will handle the rest. In exchange, all of her mother's medical bills, covered without question. The offer hangs in the air like a lifeline laced with poison. Desperation wins out, Dominika agrees. She steps into the lion's den at a dimly lit bar, her beauty a weapon honed by heartbreak. The gangster's eyes lock onto her, drawn like a moth to flame. She plays her part flawlessly, her smiles laced with calculated allure, drawing him in until he's putty in her hands. He leads her to a lavish hotel suite, his intentions as predatory as they are obvious. But the agency's backup is late, terribly, unforgivably late. In the suffocating isolation of that room, the gangster overpowers her, violating her in a brutal act that leaves her shattered, her trust in the world fracturing irreparably. She had only meant to bait him, not become the prey. Just as her world crumbles, the agents burst in, guns blazing. They dispatch the gangster with ruthless efficiency, his body crumpling to the floor. But for Dominika, the victory is hollow, poisoned by trauma. She stumbles to Ivan's office, her spirit in tatters. "I'll never do this again," she declares, her voice breaking. Ivan's response is ice-cold indifference. Her pain means nothing to him. Worse, he reveals the trap she's now ensnared in. By witnessing their methods, she knows too much. She's part of the agency now, bound by secrecy. Refuse to cooperate, and they'll silence her permanently, another ghost in their machine. Meanwhile, across the globe in Moscow, we shift to Nate, a sharp-witted American spy embedded deep in enemy territory. As a CIA operative, Nate thrives on the edge, trading whispers and shadows for intelligence that could topple regimes. He meets his shadowy contact, a man he calls Merle, in a dingy back alley. Merle slips him vital intel, fragments of Russia's inner workings, before vanishing into the night. But the exchange goes south fast. Police sirens wail, closing in like wolves. Nate, ever the protector, draws their fire, unleashing a hail of bullets to create a diversion. Merle slips away unscathed, but Nate pays the price. He's captured, interrogated, and swiftly deported back to the States. Undeterred, Nate itches to return to the fray, but his superiors have other plans. "No more Moscow," they warn. "Head to Budapest. That's where you can link up with Merle again, safer ground." Back in Russia, Ivan pores over grainy surveillance footage of Nate's Moscow rendezvous. His instincts scream betrayal, Merle isn't just our informant, he's a double agent, burrowed deep in the east like a cancer. Ivan vows to excise him at any cost, dispatching a hunter to end the threat. Dominika. He corners her once more, go to Budapest. Finish what you started. But first, survival demands transformation. She's shipped to a brutal spy academy, a Spartan hell of grueling drills, psychological warfare and lethal skills. The training is a forge of fire and steel, hand-to-hand combat that leaves bruises blooming like dark flowers, interrogation simulations that strip the soul bare, seduction tactics that twist the heart. Against all odds, Dominika endures, emerging sharper, deadlier, a weapon reforged. Dispatched to Budapest, her objective is clear. Infiltrate Nate's circle, earn his trust and use him as the key to unmasking Merle. No one knows Merle's face, he's a phantom, a ghost in the machine. Nate is the only thread leading to him. Dominika settles into a shared flat with a fellow agent, a woman whose loyalties are as murky as fog. She begins her hunt subtly, shadowing Nate like a specter. She joins the same swimming club he frequents, her lithe form cutting through the water with hypnotic grace. She engineers accidental encounters, brushing past him in hallways, lingering in his peripheral vision, until his gaze snags on her, curiosity blooming into intrigue. Dominika's beauty is her greatest ally, disarming and disorienting. Nate notices, drawn despite himself. One crisp afternoon on a bustling street, their paths cross deliberately. He approaches, words tumbling out in a mix of charm and caution. No immediate suspicion clouds his eyes, instead there's a spark, a pull. The next day at the pool, disaster looms. Her ID card is missing. Nate has pocketed it during their encounter, a sly reconnaissance move. He runs the details. Russian ties too perfect to be coincidence. She's a sparrow, a honey trap. Yet, instead of confrontation he plays along, meeting her repeatedly, testing her game. He knows she's probing for Merle, but he holds his cards close, letting the dance unfold. Back at the flat, paranoia creeps in. Dominika returns one evening to find her roommate absent. Too absent. A frantic search uncovers the truth. Her flatmate is no loyal comrade but a rogue operative, set to rendezvous with an American contact, trading Russian secrets for cold cash. Dominika realizes the web is thicker than she imagined. Her roommate's mission mirrors her own, a parallel thread in the agency's tangled loom. But progress stalls. Weeks bleed into frustration. Merle's shadow eludes her grasp. Ivan summons her, his patience fraying like old rope. Why the delay? Fail and you're expendable. Desperate, she spins a lie. I'm collaborating with my roommate on her assignment. It's slowing me down, but it's strategic. Ivan's fury erupts like a volcano. Focus on your own damn mission. In her absence, retribution strikes swift and silent. Another Russian agent slips into the flat and executes her roommate with a suppressed shot, a bullet to the back of the head. The betrayal? Fabricated on Dominika's word, she'd claimed shared secrets, painting her colleague as a leak. Russian intelligence, ever paranoid, acts on the whisper. When Dominika returns, the killer corners her, his eyes voids of mercy. Fail again and you're next. He hisses, the metallic tang of blood still fresh in the air. Terror grips her like iron chains. Shaken to her core, she flees to Nate's flat, collapsing into confession. I know what you are, he says softly, not with accusation but understanding. Tearfully, she unravels her tale. The accident, the coercion, the mother's fragile life hanging by a thread. I had no choice. It's me or her. Nate's resolve hardens into resolve. I'll protect you both, he vows. But you become a double agent. Work for us. The pact seals with a kiss, tentative at first, then deepening into something raw and real. They draw closer, bodies and secrets entwining, the line between mission and desire blurring into oblivion. The next morning, as Dominika slips from his bed, she pockets a glass, Nate's fingerprints etched like invisible ink, a trophy for her handlers. Nate, meanwhile, reconvenes with Merle in a hidden safehouse. Merle warns him urgently, steer clear of Dominika. She's poison, a Russian blade aimed at your throat. Nate brushes it off, loyalty and longing overriding caution. He introduces her to his CIA team, her presence a gamble they can't resist. I'll work for you, she offers, but it costs $30,000. Skeptical murmurs ripple through the room. Why pay? Her answer is a masterstroke. Because I can deliver what your roommate couldn't. She was Russian, tasked with seducing the US Senator's chief of staff, handing over troves of American intel. She's dead now, mission unfulfilled. Take me instead. The deal is struck, dollars exchanged for deception. Dominica meets the chief of staff in a haze of feigned intimacy, receiving a disk brimming with classified data. But eyes are everywhere, Russian shadows and American watchers converging like storm clouds. In a sleight of hand worthy of a magician, Dominica swaps the disk, funneling the real one to Nate while pocketing a decoy. As the chief of staff emerges into the night, ambush awaits. CIA operatives swarm, encircling her in a noose of suits and suspicion. Panic surges, she bolts, heels clicking frantically on cobblestones, but escape is illusion. A screech of tires, a sickening crunch, she struck down in a freak accident, her body mangled on the cold pavement. Her death reverberates through Russian ranks like a thunderclap. She was their mole, feeding secrets for years. Suspicion ignites. Who leaked the meat? Dominica and Ivan are hauled back, subjected to a symphony of torment, waterboard, beaten, broken. Her colleague perishes under the onslaught, but Dominica clings to life, gasping out her defense to Ivan. It was all to gain Nate's trust. I'm inches from Merle now. Ivan, swayed by her fervor, relents, dispatching her back to Budapest. Before leaving, she visits his home, a moment of vulnerability where passion flares, bodies colliding in a desperate bid for connection. But Ivan's doubt festers. He tails her with another agent, a serpent in the grass. In Budapest, reunion with Nate is electric. He pulls her into an embrace that erases the miles and the lies. She confesses fragments of the chaos, and though Nate guards Merle's secrets still, his affection runs deep. They surrender to the night, lovers entangled in silk sheets. Dawn breaks cruelly, Dominica awakens to horror. The trailing agent has Nate at gunpoint, torture tools glinting menacingly. Merle's name now, he demands. Nate resists, bloodied but unbowed. Dominica joins the fray, feigning alliance, her pleas a venomous lure. But in a heartbeat, loyalties shatter. She turns on the agent, a savage strike felling him in a spray of violence. Nate and she lie wounded, a tableau of gore and survival, rushed to the hospital amid flashing lights. There a new player emerges, the Russian general Ivan's superior, who arrives with grave authority. He confronts the bandaged Dominica. Nate didn't break. You didn't kill our man. You've hidden too much. She denies it all, steel in her spine. The general's mask slips, revealing a fractured soul. No need for fear from me. Merle, the ghost you're hunting, the one Nate shields? That's me. His confession unspools like a confession in the confessional. Once a loyal servant of Russia, his world imploded when his wife fell gravely ill. An American doctor could have saved her, but the agency forbade it. Paranoia over leaks trumped love. She died in agony, and with her, his faith in the system. The whole machine is rotten, he growls. I defected, became a double, serving both sides to dismantle the corruption from within. He implicates Ivan. Your uncle trapped you here. He could have freed you, but power is his god. The general's gambit is bold, born of resignation. He knows capture looms, his cover thinning. Expose me. Hand me to Russia. Become the hero. Then, like me, straddle both worlds, end the agency's rot. He sees in her a successor, a phoenix from his ashes. Dominica returns to the fold, her report a dagger to the heart. Merle unmasked, Ivan himself the architect of her suffering. Evidence cascades like dominoes. A slush account in Ivan's name, bloated with $30,000 from American payoffs. The glass from Nate's flat, dusted for prints linking him to the enemy. From the start, she'd woven the noose, planting seeds of doubt, harvesting betrayal. Ivan, ensnared in her web, thrashes futilely, his denials drowned in proof. Russian agents storm in, executing him with mechanical finality, a bullet to the temple, ending the man who forged her chains. Dominica's triumph earns her laurels. Promotion, prestige, a life of quiet luxury back in Russia with her mother, whose health blooms under care she never dreamed of. Yet, in stolen moments, Nate haunts her, his touch, his trust, a love untainted by the game. One evening, her phone buzzes with an unknown number. Silence greets her hello, broken only by the haunting strains of a piano melody, soft and insistent. Her breath catches, she knows it's him, a whisper across oceans. With that ethereal note lingering in the air, the tale fades to black, leaving echoes of what might have been. We hope this story captivated you as much as it did us.